Welcome to the Hometown Legends podcast series with your host, Mary and Mello. Today's special guest was selected 12th overall by the Washington Bullets in the 1988 NBA draft. Out of Georgia, Harvey Grant. Harvey, thank you for joining us today on the Hometown Legends podcast series. It is an honor to have you here with us today.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate you having me.
Most definitely, Mr. Harvey. We'd like to start the podcast off by doing an icebreaker. And the question that we normally ask is about a pregame ritual. If you had a pregame ritual, and what was it, sir?
Oh, I used to get to the game maybe 2.5 to 3 hours early, and I used to take the same route. I get there, I sit in my locker and relax for a little bit, and I get me a red Gatorade. It has to be red. I don't know why, but it has to be red, and I have to be the third one on the table when I'm getting my ankle tape. So I had to do that every game.
That is definitely a first to hear about the specific place to get your ankles taped and everything, and the red Gatorade. But that's interesting. Sure.
Yeah.
Um, Miss Mary, you want to kick it off?
I surely will. We want to talk about your high school career growing up in a small town in Georgia, Sparta. How was it playing alongside your brother in high school?
I tell you, we enjoyed each other, playing with each other, but we were so competitive, and I think that kind of helped us along, our journey to get, to college and to the NBA.
For sure. And not only in high school, you guys got to play together. You guys got to Clemson to go to college and play together for 1 year as well. How was that experience? And when the recruitment process came about, how did that work out?
Uh, uh, like I said earlier, we are from a small town in Georgia, and back when we was in high school, a lot of coaches didn't come through and recruit us. Recruit the little small town guys. So you know, we was playing one of our big rivalries, and the gym was packed, and it was a lot of cars out, parking lot, and this coach came from Anderson Junior College. He was driving through, and wanted to just get some rest, basically. And he asked someone outside, what's going on, and they was like, it's a big game, big basketball game. So he came in and saw my brother and I play, and he was like, okay. And then that game he didn't say anything. He left, and then he came back maybe a couple weeks later and saw us play again. And he said, you know what? We want to offer y'all a scholarship. And back then, a scholarship is a scholarship. And my mom said, okay, where do we sign? And he said, you guys, y'all come to Anderson Junior College for 2 years, and then you go to Clemson for your last 2 years. And we were like, okay, we wanted a free ride, free education. And so he went back and told the assistant coach at Clemson, hey, I got these two guys, they kind of slender, but they tall and they got potential. So the coach from Clemson, the assistant coach, Clint Bryant, came down and he saw my brother and I play. And he came up to us after the game. He said, you know what? I think y'all don't need junior college. Just come to, we can sign you right now to Clemson. And that's how that happened.
Speaking on, like you said, you guys were both competitive. When you got to campus, like you said, you had a brotherly rivalry. And I must speak your brother named Horace Grant. When
Yeah.
you got to campus, um, how did you two lead? Being brothers, you knew how you two played together. You two had a chemistry. How did you feed off of each other, but was able to bring, the other teammates in and grow with them as well?
Speaking in college,
Yes.
Oh, okay. Uh, we was, from a small town, and anytime you go from a small town like we was in and to a big university like Clemson, you have to adjust, and you have to get bigger, stronger, and focus, all at the same time. And we kind of relied on each other to push each other in the weight rooms, uh eating right and trying to do the right thing. And I can say I really, really enjoyed him pushing me pushing him. And and my first year there, I wasn't as big and strong as Horace was. I redshirted, so it gave me an extra year. And he played his freshman year a little bit, and then my second year there, uh, I played, but we had a new coach that come in, and I was immature, didn't get along with the coach. So I'm like, okay, Horace, you getting a lot of playing time, bro. I ain't getting that much time, so I'm gonna try to go another route. He was like, no, I'm going with you. I'm like, bro, no, you stay, and I'll be okay. And long story short, it worked out for both of us.
And you just spoke on having to make an adjustment going from Georgia to Clemson. You left Clemson and transferred to Oklahoma. How was that transition, knowing that you were going from Clemson to a different school in a whole different state and becoming a part of the team that went to the national championship?
Uh, well, I had one stop, Mary. I had one stop in it, and that was in Independence Junior College.
Okay.
And I can honestly say that 1 year helped me hone my game, tone my game up, make me get my confidence back to where I needed to be. And then Oklahoma came in and said, "Hey, we want to sign you." And anybody know the late great Billy Tubbs? We had a great team.
Speaking on that year that you had to spend at Independence Community College, what did you take from that? I know you said it helped you grow your game, get stronger, and everything like that. What else did you learn about basketball in that 1 year that helped translate, or that that transferred with you to Oklahoma?
Uh, Mello, it's the confidence. I had a coach there. His name was Bob Cavisto. I tell you what, I can remember this like it was yesterday. Also, uh, my confidence was kind of down, and in practice and in a game, the guys would throw me the ball, and I would throw it back out, and then they would throw it back in, and I would throw it back out, and they would shoot it, almost every time. And coach called timeout. He was like, timeout. He said, he called the whole team in the huddle. If anybody shoots the ball besides Harvey, I'm going to make everybody run 20 suicide the next day. And I tell you what, that game, they threw the ball in, and then I'm that was one of my best games ever. I had 44 points. And then after the game, coach said, "I told you you can do it, Harvey. I told you." And after that, my confidence just skyrocketed.
Well, I know that you didn't want to run those 20 suicides, so I would
Oh
have been
no,
shooting the ball as
no, not at all. I don't think my teammates did either.
well. So obviously your confidence was built up, and whenever you went to Oklahoma, then that's when you were able to help the team go to the national championship. You stepped up as a leader. Tell us about that experience being at Oklahoma and knowing that you are going to a national championship.
When I first got to Oklahoma, it was the last year that the great Wayman Tisdale, he was there, and then he went into the pros. Uh, so they had a core of guys there who knew how to win and what it took to win. So I was just a piece of the puzzle when I first got there. But then, throughout the year, they, kind of depended on me a little bit more and a little bit more. And By the time my senior year, I was one of the leaders, along with Stacey King, who played with the Bulls on 2 or 3 championship. Mookie Blaylock, one of the best steal person in the NBA. So we had a core there, but they depended on me to kind of lead them because it was my senior year and their junior year. So I kind of learned, uh, through that first year when I was there to when I became a senior to be a leader and what it takes to be a leader.
Did you take those lessons, or what lessons did Mr. Wayman Tinsdale give you that gave you the leadership ability, and the confidence to lead in your senior year?
He, uh, you know, when I first got there, he kind of pulled me to the side. He said, I seen you play. I seen you play, in junior college, so I know what you can do. He said, you just have to assert yourself and and fit in first, but then you're gonna have to take that extra step to be a leader. He said, when he first got there, when he was a freshman, he was like, he had older guys on the team, kind of pushed him a little bit, and that's kind of able him to be 3-time All-American, on the Olympic team, second player pick in the draft, and he gave me that type of advice, and I can say until this day, he helped me get to where I'm at.
And speaking of All American, you were an All American yourself in 1998 as well. So did you feel when you became an All American that you had listened for one, and that you had done the right thing by your leadership and your play?
Melo, I think so. I think the biggest thing is like I got drafted in 1988, and my brother Horace got drafted in 1987, and I'm like, okay, if he's there, I know I can get there. I just got to stay focused and work a little bit harder and do the right thing on and off the court, and I can get there because we were so competitive. I'm like, I can't let him outdo me. So I buckled down and and I got there.
For sure. So you saw your brother in the league, like you said, Horace Grant got drafted in '87. So, like you
Mhm.
said, that was inspiration and motivation for you as well, on top of the competitiveness, that you two had going between each other, right?
Mhm.
When the national championship game came, we played against Kansas and Danny Manning,
Mhm.
who ended up going number 1 in '88 as well, right?
Mhm.
Yes, to the Los Angeles Clippers.
Right.
Playing, being that you had to compete against your brother Horace, another big. How did you take those experiences from playing against your brother and Mr. Wayman Tinsdale and defending Danny Manning?
I tell you, Danny Manning was a different player, man. He was 6'11", just so skilled with the basketball. Back in my day, you're 6'11", you used to get the rebound and give it to the guard. Well, not Danny. Danny would get the rebound, dribble it up, find his player here, find his player there. And he was so tall, big, and strong, or he can just take it coast to coast. And in college back then, that was unheard of, man. It was unheard of. But once you play against that guy, either he's going to dominate you or he's going to make you better. And I think that playing against him in the back at the time was the Big Eight, but now it's the Big 12. Back then, if if you didn't, if you wasn't on your game, you would lose to him every time because he was that type of player, and he made you better. He made me better
And you're saying that he made you better. Where exactly on the court did he make you better? Your skill set.
because I had to, even he was 6'11" and I'm 6'9", and anytime he gets the rebound, you got to guard him from. By the time he get the rebound, you got to guard him the whole court because Most big guys, when they get the basketball, they'll give it to a guard, and then you can run back to half court and jog, but not with him. He reminded me of bigger version of Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen 6'7", get the rebound, and dribble up court like a guard. And I had to guard this guy for 11 years, man. So those type of players, uh, either they gonna dominate you or they gonna make you better. And I got better guard than those two guys.
Now, throughout your high school and college career, was there anybody that influenced you in basketball?
Ooh, I probably, and I know he's gonna tease me for saying this. My brother, because he was there. he, I'm like, this dude, he's not better than me, but he's there. So I'm like, I got to get there. I got to get there. So once he got there and he told me, my senior year, he was like, you're going to be drafted, but when you get here, you got to work, dude, because these are grown men. And I can remember my first NBA game. We was playing the Sixers when Charles Barkley was on the Sixers, and we was playing like in Virginia. It was a preseason game, and when I came in the NBA, I was 6'9", 195, 200 pounds, and I remember that game preseason. Charles Barkley beat me down. So after the game, one of my assistant coaches said, "Hey, if you want to last in this league, you can never let that happen again, and you're gonna have to stay. You're gonna have to hit the weights." So that summer, I stayed in D.C., Washington D.C., and I'm talking about, man, I hit the weights, and I worked on my game because I didn't want, to be out the league. And a lot of guys don't understand. It's it's hard to get to the NBA, but it's even harder to stay there because guys, you got grown men and you got guys from all around the world who's trying to get your spot.
This is the Hometown Legends podcast series, hosted by Miss Mary and myself, Mello Williams. And today's special guest is Mr. Harvey Grant, NBA legend, Mr. Harvey Grant. So we're at the NBA right now. He was drafted 12th overall in the '88 draft by the then Washington Bullets. When you heard your name called, how was that experience?
Uh, I've been asked that question, and I tell you, anytime you walk, when you hear your name called, at the highest level, and you walk across that stage, and you shake at the time. David Stern was our commissioner, and you shake his hand, and you put that cap on. You were like, "Oh, I've made it. I've made it." And just it's just so much joy and excitement. You just can't wait to get started. So by me just walking across the stage, and once you shake that, shake the commissioner hand and put your hat on, you like, oh, that's a great feeling. Great feeling.
How soon were you ready to get to work? Like you said, that feeling was there. You know, your brother was there. Your brother was inspiration. You knew you could be there. You was there now. How soon did you get to work to prove yourself and to separate yourself from being excuse me, Horace's brother?
Uh, like once you walk across the stage, and now you want to take a minute to celebrate. You want to take a minute to celebrate, and then once you get to training camp, I'm telling you, I played with guys like John Williams, Bernard King when I'm a rookie. Those guys. Once I got to the first practice, when I say they treat you like a rookie, they treated you like a rookie. You had to go get the balls, you had to carry bags, you had to do this, do that. That's being a rookie. But at the same time, you had to prove yourself. You had to prove yourself. And I can remember one time. in a preseason game. We was playing Boston in Tennessee, Boston in Tennessee, and 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 Larry Bird, it was Larry, McHale, and Robert Parrish and those guys, and we was beating them. Right, we was beating them. I'm a rookie. I'm like, the only thing I know what to do is play hard. That's where I'm from. That's all. That's the only thing I know. I'm playing hard. So they put Robert, McHale, and Bird back in the game, and I'm still playing hard. I'm a rookie. I need playing time. I'm trying to prove myself. And then Larry, good friend of mine. Now he's a good friend of mine. Now hit me with an elbow. Man, only thing, we got into a fight. Oh, everything went wild. And then after the game, my coach at the time was Wes Unseld. He was like, I like you. I like you. You didn't back down. You didn't, you held your ground. He said, but why did you have to go and fight the biggest star in the league? I'm like, that's all I knew is to just play hard and protect myself. So right then and there, I got a little respect around the league. Like, this kid, he's not going to back down, you know, and and I don't know if you know Bernard King, and he came to me. He said, Rook, if you want to last long in this league, I need for you to do this. I need for you to eat right. I'm not telling you not to have fun, but get your rest and play hard. And I'm telling you, he's one of my, sometimes I get emotional talking about it. He's one of my biggest heroes ever until this day. When I see him like at events, I just got to put my arms around him because if it was not for him giving me that advice and I followed that advice, I wouldn't have lasted 11 years in the league. Nah,
Was
because a lot
Bernard,
of guys don't.
right, right. Was Bernard King the only one that basically guided you throughout your NBA career, or was there anybody else?
I had, luckily, when I uh, became a rookie on the Bullets, I had guys like Charles Jones, Carswell Jones' brother. I had a guy named Dale Walker. He was a mentor of mine. I'm talking about a scrappy dude. Had guys like Jeff Malone, went to Mississippi State, a good friend of mine. And the shortest dude, well, he's not the shortest, but Michael Adams. Oh man, those type of guys who, when I first got into the NBA, they put their arms around me and helped me along the way throughout my career.
You mentioned some very interesting names. All you guys are legends, Hall of Famers. You know, the NBA have a selection of how they do Hall of Famers. But you was blessed, like you said, Wes Unseld, the great Wes Unseld. You probably reminded him of himself. He was a scrapper, hard player, so he probably saw
Mm-hmm.
himself in you. The great Bernard King, like you said, the king of New York. We know who he is. Michael
Mm-hmm.
Adams, you
Mm-hmm.
was around some very, very seasoned vets and guys that understood basketball. What did you see how they prepared, that made them so great in their craft, that made you great as well?
Uh, I can say this: when we practice, and you got at the time a guy who had two knee surgeries, real bad knee surgery. Bernard King had ACL, MCL, everything torn up. Anytime you see a guy like that, and I think at the time he was probably like 30, 31 years old. Anytime you see a guy like that eating right, everybody else back then we was eating McDonald's. He come on the bus with a salad. He come on the bus with a nice big thing of water, and and in practice, we would have Mellow Mary. We would have a 3 hour practice. I'm talking about hard. Back in the day, it was hard. And then we would have to go on a track field and the guards had time, a set time, the forwards had a set time, and the centers had a set time. This is no lie. Bernard King will beat everyone all the time. He would beat the guards. He would beat the forwards. He would beat the centers. I'm talking about beat every time he would come in first. And I'm like, what? And I'm starting to look at that, and I'm like, damn, man. So I'm like, B, how do you do it? He said, I get my rest, I eat right, and at the time he would take vitamins and stuff. And that's how I started to do the same thing. I said, you know what? I want to be like him. I want to come in first. You know, I want to have a long career. So I started to imitate what he does, and I'm like, yeah, I got a chance.
And when you started to imitate him and everything that he was doing, did you see yourself starting to improve?
Yeah, yeah. After my, after my, well, during my second year, one of the starters got hurt. John Williams, he got hurt. He was our starting power forward. So they threw me into the fire. All right, hey, this is your second year. I know it's like halfway through the season. Get in there. And Bernard pulled me to the side. He's like, hey, you can do it. Hey, this is what you've been working on the whole time, so you can do it. And then after that season, I was averaging at the time probably like maybe 6 points a game, but then I finished the season out with maybe 10 points a game. And then the next year, they threw me into the starting role, and I averaged probably 18, 19 points a game for about 3, 4 years in a row.
And at that time, again, you was with the Washington Bullets. Your brother Horace was playing with the Chicago Bulls. Both of you guys were in the playoff. Both teams was in the playoffs. How was that experience? Like you guys play high school basketball together, got to college, played college basketball for 1 year together. Both made it to the league. Now you're competing against each other on the highest level and at the highest stage. How was that experience?
I tell you, hey, for 11 years, guys, I've been trying to beat that dude and the Bulls for 11 years. And I think in 11 years, we probably beat them maybe once or twice. But that one time, I let him have it. I let him have it. But we we would we would always be competitive, and I didn't want him to score. He didn't want me to score. So I can remember, I think it was my second or third year in the league, and we was playing the Bulls, and they was beating us by like maybe 15, 20 points kind of at the end of the game. And my brother, went in for a layup. Man, I fouled him so hard. And then the fans started to boo me. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna let this dude score. I got to hear this, after the game when we go to dinner. So we was very competitive, but we helped each other out along the way.
You became friends with Scottie Pippen in college as well, correct?
Pardon me?
You became friends with Scottie Pippen in college as well, correct?
No, not in college, but in the pros.
In the pros, okay.
Hmm.
Now you mentioned like Danny Manning. You compared Danny Manning and Scottie Pippen as pretty much similar playing styles. When
Hmm.
you had to see Scottie Pippen, though, how was he on the basketball court? Like just like what made him great? I should ask on the basketball court.
Oh, a lot of people just don't know how strong Scotty is, man. Dude, he's strong, fast, very, very athletic, and his IQ of the game is second to none. You know, anytime you get a 6'7", 6'8" guy can push the ball, big hands, and can just go from one end to the other end, probably like maybe four dribbles. It's hard. It's hard to guard. It's hard to guard. And I think, with his work ethic and his focus and his drive, made him the Hall of Fame player that he is. And I'm, once he's focused, and we talk about two-way players. Scottie Pippen was, in my opinion, probably the best two-way player I ever seen. And he would let you know that he's gonna be on you all night. And then now, he's kind of messing with your psyche a little bit. You're like, oh, he's gonna be on me all night. Now, you look up, he got 30 points. You know, so he was, in my opinion, he was probably the best two-way player I ever seen, I ever played against.
Your second year in the NBA, your game changed drastically. It improved over the time. Coming to the season's end, you were runner up in 1991 as the NBA's most improved player. Just falling a little bit short. But how did it feel to know that you were almost you? I mean, you could have been the most improved player, but knowing that you put in all that work, getting all of this help and guidance from your teammates and everything, like how did you feel just to know that you were almost the most improved?
You know what? Between us, we ain't got to tell nobody. I think I got robbed, man.
Okay.
Oh, I think they gave it to Scott Skiles. I think he had like 30 assists in a game. I'm like, come
Mhm.
on, man. Uh, but I contribute that, me getting runner up to my teammates.
Mhm.
They helped me from day one. They helped me from day one. And it's just my work ethics. Once I set my focus on something, I try to achieve it.
Mhm.
And that was one of my goals. I fell a little short, but it happens in life. But I owe all of that to my teammates and guys who setting picks for me and helping me get open and things like that.
This is the Hometown Legends podcast series, hosted by Miss Mary and myself, Mello Williams. Today's special guest is Mr. NBA legend, Mr. Harvey Grant. You had a great 11-year NBA career. You have three sons as well that made a name for themselves in high school, college, and Jeremy's making a huge name for himself in the
Yeah.
NBA right now.
Mm.
Jirai, did I say it
Jure,
correct?
Jure.
Jure. Sorry about that. Jure. He went to Clemson like you and his uncle, Horace. Jeremy, he went to Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And Jeremy went to Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
All have played and playing professional basketball. As a parent, as an athlete, as a professional player, how did that make you feel knowing that they all made a name for themselves and that the work paid off?
Uh, I'm a proud dad. I'm telling you, I'm a proud dad, and it shows that if you work hard, stay focused, and do the right thing on and off the court. None of us are perfect, but if you try to be, good things will happen. Uh, I can remember those guys when they was playing AAU basketball, right? And I had my little own organization, and I coached them a little bit, and then I asked each one of my sons, I'm like, do you really want to do this? I said, don't do it because I want to do it. Do it because it's something you want to do and you love. And they like, oh yeah, Dad, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm like, okay. So when I knew that they really wanted it, I'm laying in the bed, probably like 6 o'clock in the morning, and they come get me up. I say, hey, Dad, let's go work out. Let's go work out. I'm like, huh? They say, hey, yeah, they fully dressed, ready to go work out. So we go over to the Mather High School where they, went to school, and we would work out until it's time to for them to go to class. So right then and there, I'm like, okay, yeah, maybe they want it. And I'll say, I'll see if they do it again. I don't want to have to go and wake them up. I want them to come get me. So the next morning, same thing. Hey, Dad, we got to go work out. I'm like, okay, let's go do it. And from then on, I'm like, all right, you know what? Maybe you want it more than I thought you did, and it turned out to be pretty good for them.
What is one piece of advice that you instilled in your kids, knowing that you played in college and in the NBA that probably helped them accelerate on the court today?
Uh, you know, if you want something, go and get it. Don't let no one tell you that you can't do it. Just go get it. And along the way, enjoy the journey. You have to enjoy the journey, but stay focused and just go get it. Don't let anyone derail your dreams or anything. If you want it, just go get it.
You have a story. You again, you played in the league yourself. Three boys in the league playing professionally. Um, you have the Ball family, the Ball boys, right? So you have the Grant family, the Ball family. Now you have the Wagner family. If the DJ gets recruited, right?
Hmm.
How does that feel to be one of the few father son quadruples, if you want to call it? I don't know what you would label it, but to have three, not one, but three sons to follow and play at the highest level,
You know,
because
I
that's some exclusive company.
yeah, I like I said earlier, Mello. Hey, I'm a blessed dad, man. And all the hard work those guys put into their craft, getting up every morning, uh, going to work out, going to class, and then being the first one at practice, the last one to leave practice. All of those years of hard work, for them, it paid off. And a lot of people ask, "Hey, I know you're proud of your kids." I am. I'm like head over heels proud. But the most thing I'm proud of is they are good kids and they graduated from college. You know, and it takes a lot. Being an athlete and getting your education. It takes a lot because a lot of people don't do it. But I'm so proud of those guys for staying the course, getting their degrees and playing at the highest level. So that's what I'm mostly proud of.
You saw the NBA and basketball in general when you was growing up, when you played, you coached your boys. AU basketball compared to when you played, when we played to now in the NBA, college NBA, everything has changed. How do
Mhm.
you feel about the state of basketball as a whole today?
I think it's in good hands. You got players is carrying the torch, so to speak. You know, guys like KD, Giannis, LeBron, Chris Paul, those guys are carrying the torch. Now you got another group right under them. It's kind of taking the mantle, so to speak, and making sure that basketball is viable and make sure it stays the course. So and with Adam Silver, who's the commissioner, I think he's doing a great job. He's doing a great job. So I think it's in good hands. In my opinion, maybe need a tweak here and there, but that's for another time, another story.
Now you spoke about hitting Larry Bird hitting you with an elbow. And more so protecting yourself. We know that the game used to be more physical and it is slightly changed into a softer game, let's say. The players that are coming from overseas now, how do you think that they have an influence and impact on the game?
I think the game now is a global game. It's a global game, and when I played, Mary, like I said, you can, you know, if Shaq came across the lane, you had Charles Oakley and those big guys bumping him. You're not just going to get to your sweet spot, we call it. And now you got guys like Giannis or whoever come across the lane and you can't touch him. And I tell my kids this all the time. If you couldn't touch Shaq and you let Shaq come across a young Shaq, 3 years in the league, Shaq would have averaged 40, 45 points, you know. But and if we couldn't touch Michael or Reggie and they can come off picks and you can't hand check him, those guys would have averaged 40, 40, 45, 50 points, man. But the game has changed. And, I think uh, for me, I think that I would have wanted to play in my era. I think you're not saying it's not real basketball now, but yeah, I just like, what? I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna hand check you. You're not gonna get to your sweet spot. I think, that's for me, that's basketball. And now I think it's more of a business, and I understand it. I understand it. It's more of a business, it's more of my brand, my legacy and stuff like that, instead of being 100% basketball.
You're speaking of basketball being a business right now, and the new CBA is coming up, and it's can athletes come straight out, players come straight out of high school into the NBA? Should they go to college and things of that nature? And talking about building brands, the NBA is dealing with load management. We just saw the NBA All Star game, a huge disappointment for me. I remember you guys there. We saw defense play in the All Star game. We still saw the tricks and all that, but we still saw defense. How did you feel if you watched the NBA All Star game? And as far as the business going forward for players coming straight out of high school, NIL, and things of that nature.
Um, I didn't watch. I didn't watch any of uh, the All Star weekend. I had my grandkids, so I had to take them to basketball game. But uh, it's like I said, I can see the business side of it, but you have to uh, understand that when people pay great money to come to a game, a family of four probably is going to spend with the tickets and food and parking about $300-400 now. So my thing is, don't cheat them out of that, because they could be saving up for 6 months just to come see you play. Don't cheat them and don't cheat the game. You know, I, what I have respect for Michael and even John Stockton, Karl Malone, those type of guys never cheated the game. Never cheated the game. Those guys was there every game. And then with the All Star game, when we played, I never got a chance to play in All Star, but my brother did. And we just talked about this the other day, him and I. Dude, that extra 10,000 we got, for playing an All-Star game, if you win, you trying to win. And I can guarantee you, if the late great Kobe Bryant was alive and he was in that All-Star game, Jason Tatum wouldn't have scored no 55 points on him. I'm telling you now, it's no way. So in that aspect, I think we need to get back uh, to making sure that the All-Star game and the dunk contest, be focused on. But and another thing, guys making 40, 50 million, I don't want this All-Star game, and but it shouldn't be like that. It should be like, what? The NBA has allowed me to make $40 million, $50 million. I'm gonna respect the game, and I'm not going to cheat it, and I'm not going to cheat the fans and the little kids, because I want to be in Cabo, I want to be in St. Lucia somewhere. Don't cheat the game.
I know Mello had mentioned something about NIL deals, and now these college players are able to get deals while in college. How do you feel about that?
I'm 100% on board, 1,000% on board, because we as college athletes, we make the university millions and millions and millions of dollars, but we are not allowed to get a check every month. So I applaud whoever for getting this done. Because the kids deserve that that money, contract, or whatever you want to put it as. They deserve it because I don't know what employee or employers that makes millions and millions and millions of dollars and the employee not getting paid. So that, for me, that doesn't register or make any sense. So I'm 1,000% on board. Those kids should be getting paid.
Speaking about the NBA, the NCAA making money off the athletes. The NBA is as well, from TV deals, marketing deals. So much money is coming in, but we're not still really seeing minorities, blacks in head coaching positions in college or AD positions, presidents of the school campus. Uh, in the NBA, we're seeing more black coaches in the head coaching position. Still got some ways to go, but we still don't see that the blacks in the GMs, the executive spots. Michael Jordan's the only majority owner in the NBA. How far do the NBA has to go to really be more progressive as it already is?
Mello, I think we lost him. Okay. I can't hear you. Mm-mm.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, we did lose one. It was about to get even better. We got a couple minutes left. What have you learned so far? From like one thing that most of these athletes have said that's been pretty much commonly spoke to you.
Um, a lot of the athletes speak about their confidence and making sure that their confidence is built up in order for them to compete. And I think that that is a very important component in anybody's everyday life. Especially whenever it comes to us doing this interview, we have to be confident whenever we get on here and get prepared to conduct these interviews. So I would think that that is like probably one of the main things that has been sticking out to me because a lot of the players when they're in high school and college, their confidence hasn't been built up. They're playing against other players that are way better than them. So now they're trying to figure out what they can do to become that best player. What about you?
I love it. I think you said it best. Like it starts with the confidence. Like we can
Mhm.
have best skill set in the world, but if that confidence isn't there, I mean, where we gonna get? And I don't feel what I love about it. Like you said, pretty much every athlete has spoken about the confidence, and to hear that's very important and should be instilled. I
Can you hear
hope
me?
everybody that's listening to this can relate about it being just basketball. Yes, sir. You're back.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. My phone went hot.
No problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, no problem. I just asked a question again, real quick. As far as the NBA being more progressive, seeing more blacks in the executive positions and in ownership, the ADs in college basketball as well. How far? much further do the NBA, how much further do they have to go to even become more progressive as they already are?
Mel, I tell you, we need more uh, uh, head coaches. We need more executives, GMs, and we definitely need more owners. We do. It's a predominant, black game. Most of the players are black, so we need more. We need more, and my brother and I, hard. We talk about this all the time. That that if you see uh, a black head coach in the NBA, he's trying to get his first job, and he's going to take, basically, what job, it is. But if you look around, except for maybe one or two, they are coaching the worst team in the NBA. I know it's their first job, and they want it. They want to get into the business. But if you look around, they are coaching some of the worst teams, some of the worst teams. So, and you have other coaches, get recirculated and, coaching, uh, just say coaching Milwaukee or Memphis or whoever, right? You get those coaches coaching, the better teams, the better teams. I always say this: if you want to prove to me that uh, that you are a great coach, come coach a team who don't have the Morants and the KDs and those. If you want to prove to me that you're a good, great coach, come coach those teams and get them to the playoffs and win a championship. I can go and coach Milwaukee. Just put the ball in Giannis' hand. That's not hard. But sometimes I get sick and tired of seeing, some of the black coaches get some of the not I don't want to call this a bad job, because coaching the NBA, a head team, is, it's a great job. But don't just, have us just to coach those teams, just to say, oh, we had a black coach here, we had a black coach there. That's not good for the NBA or the league.
Very profound with what you just said right there, because I totally agree. Most black head coaches, like you said, they're gonna get the jobs where most teams are in the lottery, top five pick. They don't do what the owners expect them to do. They're fired. You look at Brian Shaw and different coaches who have had that opportunity and never got that opportunity again. Luke Walton had that opportunity. Allegation came up about him, a criminal allegation, a severe allegation. I'm just saying, a
Yeah,
sexual assault allegation,
yeah,
and he was able to get a job the same year that he was fired.
yeah.
So the inequalities like that, like you said, it's not fair. Black coaches have a shorter leash than white coaches.
Yep, yep. I totally agree, and I think, and I'm hoping that not just the NBA but the NFL, and that they allow us to just coach one of those teams. Just I know we're trying to get there. Just like the young coach in Orlando. He's been assistant for many years. I forget his name. Many years, and they
Jamal,
say, okay, what?
Jamal.
Yeah, and they said, okay, what? We gonna let you coach Orlando. Okay, he got the same ability to coach a Milwaukee, you know, but they or whoever decides, hey, we're gonna just give you a chance with Orlando, one of the worst team in the league. Come on, I just stuff like that I just don't agree with.
And Jacques Vaughn was like the latest of that. Like Jacques Vaughn had the Brooklyn Nets balling going into the year of the bubble, and
Yep,
then
yep,
the job was taken from him. Kenny Atkinson got it there. Steve Nash got it. He stuck
hmm
around. Now he was all of a sudden can be the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets. So that was very
Yeah,
unfair. But I love how
yeah,
he stuck it out and changed the dynamic and showed it wasn't about them. It's about the coach. But then, now KD and everyone left. So I totally agree with you where you went with that. We have a
hmm
couple minutes left. And again, we want to recognize you and thank you for coming here on the Hometown Legends podcast so that we can recognize you for your contributions to basketball and to the culture. In closing words, do you have any closing words that you would like to give to us and to people?
Um, First, I just want to thank you guys for having me, man. And I talked to Mary a little bit early. I think y'all doing a great job. Y'all interviewed a couple of my guys, Tree and Eton. And I think you said Oak too. Did y'all interview
Yes.
Oak? Those are my guys.
Yeah.
So hey, just keep up the good work, man, and young lady. And anytime you need me, I'm on. Hey, maybe y'all should try to get me and my brother on at the same time.
Oh, we would love that.
We would love it. Set it up for us, and we are game for that any day, sir.
All right. Thanks for
Yes,
having me,
sir.
guys.
Most definitely.
Thanks.
Thank you. Any closing words, Miss Mary?
I don't have any closing words, but I just wanted to say thank you for joining us on the Hometown Legends podcast series. It was a pleasure to have you to share your life experience about everything that you've done on and off the court and speaking a little bit about your children as well.
Thank you. Thank y'all.
On behalf of U.S. Elite Basketball and Hometown Legends podcast series, we would like to thank NBA legend Mr. Harvey Grant for joining us today.